Hi everyone, I'm just going to do a video for people who are thinking of starting journaling or are beginning, just starting out, because I've had a few questions about what to do with journals, what do you put in them, how do you start, what do you need. I only started myself last year. I sadly lost my mum 15 months ago, and had lots of me and mum did a lot of crafting together, and I started finding lots of little things from her, so little things that she'd knitted, cards, little notes, things like that, and I kept panicking about keeping them safe. So I was watching a few things on YouTube, and the vintage journal lady was on. Her name's Kat, and she was making a journal from scratch, and she's like an expert at it. So I started to collect what I needed to make a journal to put Mum's things in. Basically, that's why I started making them last year. So this is Mum's journal. I'm not going to go through it because it's obviously personal to me, and I don't want to get upset. So yeah, so this is Mum's. That's my first journal that I've ever made. So we won't go through that, but I will show you my journal. So that one was Mum's, which I keep all of her keepsakes in, anything that's personal to me to do with Mum. So anyway, I made this one, and it's got like a velvet colour cover, so it's got like poppies and things on it. It's really nice. It's nice and tactile. I am thinking of adding some lace and things on, but this is almost too nice to cover really. So yeah, I started. I haven't filled it. So for me, journaling isn't really disciplined at all. It's a very relaxed craft, which is why I love it. You don't have to do it every day. You can if you want. You don't have to. You can treat it as like a diary if you want to. I don't personally. I come to it when I feel like it, and I have an idea and I pop it in. So I use it as ideas. So if I've seen somebody making something, I try it out in my journal, or just I'll do a page on how I feel, or I'm not really a deep person in that respect, but you can put that on. So for example, my next page is going to be about keeping calm, and this is what's inspired me to do that page. So, and I like that colour, it's my favourite colour, so I like a blue, so I'm going to do a page on that. But it can be a case of, my journal isn't, this particular one isn't a theme of any type, it's just each page is what I want to make at the time. So I haven't done anything, so I've made it completely. So what I've done is I've put all the pages in. I'm probably not explaining myself very well, but I've put all the signatures in, I've made it complete. It's not a theme. There's a pocket there, I haven't put anything in yet, but it's there for when I want to. The front page isn't done. I've gone into this journal completely random. So I've done, which you've probably already seen, I went crazy and made loads of little envelopes after watching somebody on YouTube doing it. I think it was it's Pink Monarch prints, and I buy a lot of their printed papers as well, to the downloads to print out. So, and I found a charity book, and it was all based on wildlife and things. So I wanted to combine the envelopes with the wildlife. My goodness, words. And what I also thought, that's why I use this, because in the wildlife book there was stamps, and I thought that would go with the theme of the envelopes, in my mind anyway. So these 2 pages are themed, and I've made like a journaling card set there, which I haven't filled in yet, but I will do at some point. So that's for journaling for me, is as and when I want to do it. If I see something that I like and I love making these envelopes, so that's why I've done a couple of pages on that. And it's not a disciplined thing, it's as and when you want to do it. So I've got loads of to fill in yet of this journal. I've got little scraps of paper there for some reason. And then I've also done a Valentine's, sort of a nod to the Valentine's coming up, because I had a challenge on another Facebook page that I follow, to do something Valentine's and a tag, so that's what I made. So that's something that I'll keep, and that's one of my pads that I made, and I just thought that went with the pink, sort of pinky bits and pieces that I've got on the page there. And I found that in a leaflet. So that's kind of a Valentine's theme page that I felt like doing because I'd made the tag. So that sort of inspired that page. And then this page is more personal. So I've added in a holiday page. So we were lucky enough to go to, I was going to say Italy then, Paris in April, and that was 2023. So it's not a case of you have to document your life as it goes along. If you've kept things from holidays previously, or all of us have got thousands of photos on our phones, so you can just print some out. I went to Boots and did some of these, but it wouldn't upload all of my photos, so I did a couple at home just on normal paper. So some of these photos aren't as good quality as they could be, but I quite like how it's turned out because it looks quite vintagey. So what I've done here is made an accordion section. I'll show you that in a minute. And then I've made a secret pocket where I've put like tickets and receipts that I did keep from when I went to Paris. Believe it or not, I kept them since 2023. And then I've made this sort of flip out section. Oh, let me move this up. That would help if you could actually see. So on this page, it was a blank piece of paper. I've printed out some papers that I downloaded from Etsy, and I'll put the link on who I used for that. And so what I did was I printed out 2 sheets of the same, stuck the one on the back, and then cut up to a section. So I knew I wanted quite a big pocket because there's quite a lot of leaflets and things that I've kept. So I did quite a big pocket and tried to sort of marry it up as best I could to the original sheet of paper, because I just really like this and I didn't want to cover it. So then I made like an accordion section. So I've got some tickets from the metro in the little pocket there. And then I've put a pic. This is actually from the holiday. And then I've filled it with some of our pictures. So I've done a food section. These are ones that I printed out on my printer, just on normal printing paper. So they are quite dark, but I kind of like that. So I'm okay with that. And then it flips out all the way. So what I did as well, from the same business as the same Etsy seller of the downloads, I'm not wording things very well, I also printed off some other pages and I've just used them as background sheets. I was umming and ahhing, so I thought sort of takes away from the photo a little bit, but I quite like the finish in the end. So with the accordion, obviously you've got front and back, so I've been able to fit all of these other pictures on as well. I've just got a couple more to put on, and what I can do, if I find more on my phone that I want to print out, which I think I've got some more I can just cut this section out and add some more to the accordion. So I really like, I think there's another word for it as well, not accordion, something anyway. Oh, and then just drop it. So yeah, so I'm pleased with the way it's turned out. I can't get it to close, it's like a map. There we go. So I'm really pleased with that page. So that's another idea of what you can do with your own journal. And you don't have to start off big either. You could just make an accordion one. You know, it's good for your brain, believe me, because I've already had to work out which way things go. But you could just make something like this initially and then put a front and back cover on it and use fabric as the spine. That or just, no, that wouldn't work. Yeah, you could make a front and back section, fabric to the side as the spine, and put that in. You could almost just tie it in with a bit of ribbon. That could be something that you just start with. Or, as you may have seen me making, these little mini notepad journals. You could start with something like that initially, just to see if it's something that you fancy doing. So my next page is going to be all about being calm, taking time for myself. Sounds a bit deep, but so I might just use that page. I might use that stripy one actually. That might be nice for that. Nice and calm. So I've got, in this particular journal that I made, I've got 3 signatures. I made it a while ago. So I might just, that's quite nice as well. So what I'm probably going to do is find out some papers. I've got some tea related printouts that I've done somewhere, and find some words as well that are, you know, will go with that theme for that page. So yeah, that's, if you've got any questions about journaling or what it is you want to do, feel free to message me or pop in comments. I'll put in comments as well where I got the Paris papers from, because they're really nice. And that's it really. I think that's all I wanted to say. And as well with journaling, that was something else I wanted to say. You don't have to buy the papers. You don't have to spend a lot of money. You can just use things like cereal packets, Amazon packaging. I've got a video on when I used when I made a journal from Amazon packaging, which was this one here, the fairy journal. That's just made from Amazon packaging, and you don't have to cover it with fabric, or if you've got scraps around. I do also do a lot of looking around in the charity shops, and I find things like jeans that are only like £2, and you can make a journal from those. I've got my journal that is made of jeans. Here it is. You might hear some crashing, hold on. So this is just made from charity shop jeans, and a lot of the charity shops have old books. I get lots of old books, newspaper clippings, anything really. You don't necessarily have to go out and spend a fortune in Hobbycraft to start doing journaling, and that's what's nice. There isn't a discipline thing. It's just about being creative and doing what you want to do really. I think I'm really enjoying putting the photographs in at the moment. So I'll do some more pages of that because we went to London before Christmas, so I'll do a London page. And that's it really. Like I say, if there's any questions, just let me know. Thanks for watching.